Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this show. Tonight, you will discover a brand new center, a center on artificial intelligence and data analytics for science, business and society, created by HEC Paris and Institut Polytechnique de Paris. Welcome to our guest. Welcome back, Peter Todd, after the press conference. Good evening, Dean of HEC Paris, and welcome, Eric Labaille. Good evening, President of IP Paris, Institut Polytechnique de Paris. You represent 5 schools, École Polytechnique, ENSTA Paris, ENSAE Paris, Télécom Paris, and Télécom Sud Paris. This is a specific show because of the COVID. We are not wearing masks, but don't worry, all distances are respected. And you have a mask in your pocket because you're very serious, toujours, always. And all the guests who are around us and all the staff members are wearing a mask. The COVID crisis makes this center even more relevant, and you will understand why in a few minutes. But first, tell us more about the IP Paris and HEC Paris alliance, which represents French excellence. Why did you decide to go further in this alliance, and why are you together tonight here? Eric Labaille.
I think we are together because artificial intelligence and data science are revolutionizing the world. Right now, they are disrupting the economy, disrupting the society. And mathematics and computer science have been at the core of the schools of IP Paris for decades. And we thought it was the right time to step up and scale up the investment, and to do it with our friends of HEC Paris. We have been collaborating for many, many years in these topics. We have masters together, we have research together. And today, when you want to solve the biggest issues on Earth, you need a multidisciplinary approach, from science to business management. And working together was absolutely necessary. We share common values, so we look at the problem the same way. And so it was a natural step, I would say, to build on our current assets. We have 300 researchers already working in that field. We are training dozens of students in these fields. We have also incubators working in AI and data science. And now the question is, what is the aspiration? It's just to scale up, step up our effort in this domain to bring new skills, new research to solve some of the most difficult problems, and to do it also in a way that is not only working, I would say, at science, but also at ethics, at responsibility, at diversity, to put also this aspiration at the core of our approach.
And to step up.
Absolutely.
You need each other, Peter.
We need each other.
Absolutely.
Look, we've created an ambition with this project, and an ambition to take our 2 French national champions, we can say, that are highly present on the international scene today and highly regarded around the world, and to push ourselves to another level, particularly around this thematic of artificial intelligence and data analytics, as it affects science, as it affects business, as it affects society. And look, our goal is simply to say France needs and Europe needs a world leader around these subjects. And we think that these complex questions, Eric said it, you bring together people from different disciplines to try to tackle not just how does the technology develop, but how does the technology change the world around us? And it changes economies, it changes businesses, it changes elements of our society. And we have to continue to push forward to make sure that technology transformation has a positive impact on our well-being.
Your alliance started a year ago, but you want to reach another level now.
Yeah, in fact, we started, accelerating a year ago. Because as I mentioned before, we already for years have had a master together. We had already, between HEC, Polytechnique, Télécom Paris, ENSTA, all the schools of IP Paris, there have been collaboration. And a year ago, in fact, we were working on the strategic development of both institutions. And in fact, we came to the fact that AI and data science was absolutely core to the future, core to building the skills, core to changing society. And then we said, hey, we need to accelerate. And now we are in the process of acceleration, which is the creation of the center in an official manner, with a strong financial support and basically now a research agenda to move forward.
Is it a sort of marriage I like metaphor, you know. The wedding started very well, and then you have to move forward, Peter Todd.
And then the COVID hit us, and we had to stop the celebration. But no, it's a way of coming together across boundaries, and that's, I think, just fundamentally important to science today. It's also the way organizations work today, breaking down silos and bringing people together so that we can tackle big problems. And so, yeah, it involves people with different perspectives and different points of view coming together. And sometimes when those people come together, they create wonderful ideas, and sometimes they also have arguments, and those arguments often lead to new discoveries and new ways of thinking about problems. And that's kind of the beauty of interdisciplinarity, I think. And that's something that's just really critical to moving this center forward. It's, you know, taking colleagues from different perspectives, from law and machine learning, and putting them together and seeing what happens. And you see wonderful new ideas come forward. And so, yes, it is like a marriage in a way that you bring different complementary skills and complementary views together, but you bring them together with passion.
Married people are listening to you very carefully. Arguments can be good. It's a very interesting point. To understand the goals of AI, we needed to interview the main specialist in France, member of parliament, who won the Fields Medal, which is the equivalent of a Nobel Prize for mathematics, Cédric Villani.
Artificial intelligence, AI. Everybody talks about it, but there's no good definition, you know. It's all about making algorithms and software that allows to perform some tasks, complicated tasks that you would have believed are reserved to human beings. There's no good definition of AI, and it evolves. And one thing for sure, it's a subject that has grown exponentially over the past years, and that has developed in a very pragmatic way. Experimentation, testing. Actually, when I made a presentation in front of the government of the French AI strategy in 2018, I insisted on the keyword experimentation as one of the keys of the strategy. I also insisted on the keyword sharing. It's about sharing data and information. It's about sharing skills, because you want to have various people with various skills interacting to produce some good algorithms. It's a very experimental development, and that means AI in the future will be like people who are experts in transportation and people who are experts in algorithm working together to make some progress on the autonomous car problem. Experts of medicine and experts of algorithms working together for the health of the future. And experts in business working together with experts of mathematics and science to work out together some new applications for citizens and for companies. And that will be a key to the third keyword, sovereignty. Sovereignty about the use, decide what you want the machine to do and what you want for the humans to do. Sovereignty in terms of geopolitics, what France, what Europe will be able to do and stand up and put in good value its great research and talents in front of the economic giants of other continents. This project, in which you will have collaboration between great business schools, great science schools, is exactly what we need to make sure that students will work together, hand in hand, with various skills and expertise and training, to get accustomed to each other, to learn from different cultures, and to produce some projects in a pragmatic approach, in a collaborative approach, working out for the future. Students and training, as we know, are the key to the society of the future and the key for France to do a well use of its talents.
Sharing, opening are the keys for Cédric Villani. Does he inspire you for your center?
Absolutely.
Because you wrote a lot about AI.
Absolutely. I think the purpose of the center is, in fact, to solve the issues, as Cédric Villani says, and to do it in a collaborative way, in a multidisciplinary way, and to bring the solutions to what companies are facing, what administration is facing, what society is facing. So this idea of getting together to provide solutions is really at the core of what we want to do. We have already demonstrated that it works, because we have past collaboration in that field. And the question now is to ensure we broaden it, both in terms of research, in terms of skill. It talks a lot about skill. A lot of companies, in fact, they have data and they are missing some skills. And so what we want to provide is to provide the skills to address the issues, leveraging the data, and solve the problems. So that, from that standpoint, fully in line with the aspiration, and that's really the purpose of what we're trying to build together.
Yeah, maybe you learned, maybe you read what Cédric Villani wrote about AI. Very interesting. He's the best ambassador for AI, Cédric Villani.
No question. I mean, look, this idea that you have to bring people together, again, across these boundaries, I think he's a great person to articulate that notion, someone who's deeply experienced in his own field, but who recognizes that you have to make connections to people in other fields in order to solve those big questions. And he hits that notion on the head to say that's what you have to do to solve problems, and that's what you have to do to build the talent that's needed tomorrow to drive our economy and to shape our society.
Yeah, because at first it's not obvious to understand your alliance. How can economic and social science and fundamental science can build something together? Eric Labaille.
I think it's a way of, when you structure a problem, and here let's talk about the business problem or the even government problems, and you decompose it, you need both skills, or both sciences, social sciences, management sciences, and fundamental mathematics. That's really the way to look at it, because an algorithm by itself doesn't bring you the answer. It brings you tons of perspectives, but now the point after is, so what? What do I do with the algorithm? And this is where you need to basically work on a specific solution, and this is where management, finance, specific functions brings some competencies. So that's the way it works I would say, in real life, but it starts at the research level.
You agree, Peter Todd?
Yeah, of course. We're all in the business, and we've seen it in higher education over time, the importance of breaking down silos. And I think we see it as well in businesses today, this need to be able to move across boundaries and to move across frontiers, the need to get both sides of the brain working on a problem and to have the right kind of talent to be able to do that. And I think that's what the power of what we have here is. As I say, when you take a law professor and you put them together with an expert in machine learning and they start to think about how do these tools and techniques change the way we think about the practice of law, think about the way we create the rule of law, and think about those kinds of questions, they're very fundamental, and neither one can answer the question, but coming together, they can create that kind of answer that builds value for the economy and builds value for society. It creates new kinds of businesses and new ways of doing things.
Your center is very ambitious. No center like that exists in France. Is it always simple for engineers and businessmen to understand themselves?
I don't know if it's simple, but it happens. It happens, and we contribute to this. We already contribute to this. We have many students, in fact, going from one school to the other. And so we want just to increase that. We want also to increase the projects, because you don't have to have, everybody doesn't have to have all the skills, but the teams working on a problem needs to have all the skills. And so working in project across the different institutions is going to be increasingly important. Somehow it's what is happening also in the real world. In companies, in government, you need the different skills to solve a problem. So here, that's what we are trying to do. And we already demonstrated it can work. And again, we want to scale that up to have, in fact, more impact by working together on more topics, more sectors of the economy, some societal issues. So that's the aspiration.
And now, Peter Todd, Eric Labaille, it's time to see what you are actually launching tonight, the name of your new center. This is Hi Paris, a center on artificial intelligence and data analytics for science, business, society, a newcomer in a tough world, data science and AI. A tricky question, why Hi Paris? HEC Paris, IP Paris?
You broke the code.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm very bright, you know, I'm very clever.
But
H for HEC Paris, of course.
of course, and I for Institut Polytechnique de Paris, but also hi. Welcome. It's great to see you. And this center is about bringing talent together, and it's about having that ouverture, that opening to talent, and drawing people in and bringing people together. So it's an aspect of creating the right kind of environment, the friendly kind of environment, where people want to come together to think great thoughts and to pursue interesting ideas. I'll let Eric explain what Paris is all about.
Yeah, about innovation, about youth.
Yeah, exactly. It's welcoming to the center, welcoming to Paris. Paris, it's a French tech. It's an open city. It has been
The best city of the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. we want to aspire. You know, Peter is here.
Of course.
So that's obviously it's part of the message. It's you are welcome to join in Paris, our center, because we believe it's an attractive purpose, an important purpose, and so please join us. That's the message.
Yeah, it's an important symbol.
Yeah.
What do you want to say to our viewers, students, professors, companies?
Somehow join us. The first message is to share the aspiration. We have really high aspiration in terms of what we are trying to fulfill first, bringing something to the society, and second, we have high aspiration, ambition in terms of developing the center, which means opportunities for professors, opportunities for students, opportunity also for innovation, because we also have an aspiration to develop startups, maybe to develop the next CAC 40 company over years, and opportunities also for corporate donors to help us do that. So that's a message, and it's real, it's an acceleration, it's now, so just join us.
And support us?
I mean, what does high mean? High means, in addition, aim high. And that idea that we're looking upwards, we're looking forward with ambition. Eric says the next 40 CAC 40 company, and I say, why not the next GAFA? A GAFA coming out of Europe. I think that's the kind of thing that we want to build, and we need to bring people around who have that kind of vision. And we're lucky, as we embark on this, to have some people around us who share that vision with us and want to propel us forward.
Vision and money. It's important. It's a key to the success, money.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at competition in the US, competition in Asia, have hundreds of millions of dollars usually to support their activities. Here we put the first ambition at 50 million in terms of being competitive, being also able to have a breadth of capabilities, being people, platforms, incubators. So we need to raise that money over time already, and we will see. We already have a first step.
Yes,
a first
five
step.
major companies.
Five major companies, chairman and CEOs, who have been in fact working with us to develop the concept of the center. They were absolutely key in shaping the aspiration, the purpose, and the way of moving. And hopefully, they will be joined by others to be able to accelerate in that direction.
Yes, you hope so. To attract other major companies. But this center already attracted 5 major companies. To understand the reason why they decided to support your center, we've decided to interview their data and AI specialist, innovation directors, starting with the world of beauty, fashion and luxury, LOreal and Kering.
Our mission at L'Oreal is really beauty that moves the world. And to move the world today, more and more we need data and we need to be close to consumer needs. So artificial intelligence plus data will really help us identify the new trends, the new consumer needs, and really create the products that people need. It will help us also change our business practices and give new tools to our employees to really work in a more productive way and in a closer way to consumer needs.
What we've seen is that AI is changing everything. AI will help us to build the future of beauty. AI will also help L'Oreal to transform in the company of the future. We are using AI to propose new experiences to our consumers, more immersive, more targeted, more personalized. We are also using AI to augment our employees, to predict sales, to predict trends. So AI will be at the heart of L'Oreal, will be at the heart of the transformation of L'Oreal, and it's why we have launched a beauty tech initiative, bringing tech and beauty together.
The luxury industry is going through a massive transformation right now as a result of younger population wanting to buy our products and aspire to buy products from our maisons. And the second one is more and more Chinese customers also aspiring to buy our products. And the common theme between those two populations is that they're highly connected, right? So we strongly believe that digital platforms will play a critical role in the luxury of the future. And obviously, artificial intelligence is a key enabler of those digital platforms.
And one of the key elements of the center is that the training is quite wide. So it goes from like privacy, algorithm fairness, and all these kind of topics that are often not really covered by engineering degree, towards statistics and like algorithm. And I think it's one of the very nice elements about the students who will come out of the center, because they will be like obviously very like keen on the technical aspect, but also very aware of all the issue that can be related to artificial intelligence and data analytics. And so for us, it's really key to have also this society vision and not just the very technical one.
Welcome to François-Henri. Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman and CEO of Kering. And welcome to Jean-Paul Agon. Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman and CEO of L'Oreal. Thank you for being here tonight. It's an honor for us. And of course, for the center, it's very important. First question, Jean-Paul Agon. Why is it interesting for your group to work with the center?
I think that data and artificial intelligence will be the next revolution. It's already beginning, but at L'Oreal we saw the digital revolution coming already 10 years ago, and we prepared for it. And in fact, it has been more than a revolution; it had been a tsunami. And I'm personally convinced that. It's going to be the same for artificial intelligence. We see it coming. It's going to change everything. It's going in the companies, in every department of the company, the way we do marketing, sales, production, forecast, finance, human resource, everything. So it's super important also to be at the forefront of this revolution, and that's why L'Oreal wants to be involved.
François-Henri, why did you decide to support this center?
Well, innovation is at the heart of the strategy of the group, our vision of what we call modern luxury. And we work on raw materials, new business model, but also on our internal processes. And it's based on the vision that luxury is about expertise along the value chain of the business. And our experts spend at least 2/3 of their times trying to find data, structure data, try to build knowledge from the data. And the final step, which is for me the step that creates value, which is for actions, it's only 1/3 of their time. So we decided to look at AI 3-4 years ago as a key technology for us to reverse the trend, spending 2/3 of the time of our experts to build action plans, and let algorithm to find the data and interpret the data and bring knowledge to experts for them to define what is the best actions going forward.
Which brings me to my next question for both of you. What can data science and AI can bring to your field?
As I said, everything. For example, if you do forecasting today in terms of production or sales, data and artificial intelligence helps to make it faster, more accurate, more reliable. It changes everything. Tomorrow it's going to be the same for, or even today, it can be the same for finance, for audit, for everything, for human resource to follow up the development of people around the world. So it's really a complete turnaround. And again, it's super important to be at the beginning of the move. You know, if you want to be to stay leader in your field, in your industry, you have to take all these major changes from the very beginning.
Because there is a lot of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in digital or e-commerce. You know, we were the first in digital and e-commerce, and the fact that we were 2 years ahead, 3 years ahead, we are still ahead. So we want to do exactly the same for artificial intelligence and data.
François-Henri, is it the same for you? The same reasons?
Yeah, well, we use AI already on 2 key fields. One is the customer relations side, but also on the supply chain side. Customer relation is for us a way to bring even more value to customers by being more relevant in what we offer them, and be also less intrusive, because the situation today, that because of all the data is available, marketing skills are becoming quite intrusive from the customer standpoint. So by being more relevant, more precise, we can bring more value and be less intrusive for the customers. And the other side is supply chain. Our business is an offer-driven market, so we bring newness, so we don't know what will be the reaction to those newness. So we need the demand and forecasting and demand planning or replenishment planning is a very, very difficult exercise in our business, and to make sure that we gain in efficiency, trying to produce not too much based on what we can think we could sell, is a very difficult exercise. The AI is very helpful to that. We already use AI in replenishment planning with an efficiency gain of at least 30%. And we are, 6 months from now, we will use also in demand planning. So prior to production, we'll use AI algorithm to enhance our forecasting capacities. So it's very important for us.
And why is it so useful to combine the skills of engineers and businessmen or businesswomen?
But you know, this is the new world. The people we recruit today, they need both skills. Even for marketers, you know, the marketers that we recruit today, they come from schools like Polytechnique or Central, or they come from schools like HEC, and we see very clearly that more and more they need these 2 skills. You know, the business analytics, and it's super important. So the fact that HEC and Institut Polytechnique can be together and create a new generation of people who will have the 2 skills is absolutely the key for the future.
Yeah, it's crucial for you too.
Yeah, well, you know, when we started this journey on technology and innovation inside the group, we started by field trips in America, mostly in America, in New York or in the Silicon Valley. And I was very surprised by 2 things. One is that how many French experts you find among the best in the world in the AI field. One thing. Second thing, and it is in the Silicon Valley, I think one of the key elements of the success of the Silicon Valley is to bring together the best academics, the best research, and multi-sectorial private sectors players together. And this combination has brought to America what Silicon Valley is today. And I think that the initiative that we are talking today between Institut Polytechnique, HEC, and companies from almost all the key sectors of the economy, bringing that together, give us a unique chance in France to build something that will be very relevant worldwide in the field of AI.
Thank you very much, François-Henri Pinault, Chairman and CEO of Kering, and thank you very much, Jean-Paul Agon, Chairman and CEO of L'Oreal, for being here tonight with us. And let's see now in another field, energy, why data sciences and AI are important for Rexel and Total.
We have a lot of data and we have a lot of great talents. We have a team of more than 100 data scientists, data engineers, everyone working closely with business owners for the solutions. So for us, it's super important to be close to where the research is, where all the new discovery innovations are made, so that we can really be at the forefront.
it was really important for us to be associated to such a project in order to foster the French savoir-faire worldwide.
And I think also there's a question of diversity. So it's super important to have a wide diversity of talents from different countries, different backgrounds, different expertise, corporate and academic, together.
One of our biggest challenge is to make sure that none of our employees becomes obsolete. AI is a chance, especially in terms of positive carbon impact, for example.
We're going to set up our new innovation and research center on low carbon energy there in Paris-Saclay, because we believe that it is in this sort of ecosystem that we can get forefront innovation.
They are deeply in our DNA. We were applying AI already in the 80s for geoscience. And because of the renewal of data science and AI, and because we have lots and lots of data in geophysics for CO2 storage, in low carbon electricity, and in electricity customers, we need to develop new paradigms to leverage those data that are linked by physics, by chemistry, and where we need to have safe AI to control those facilities. And this is why we invested in the center.
And to achieve this ambition, data and AI are essential. With this center, we are going to build our common energy future.
Welcome to Patrick Bérard. Good evening, CEO of Rexel, and welcome to Patrick Pouyanné. Good evening, Chairman and CEO of Total.
Good evening.
Good evening. What is at stake for industry and for energy in general when we talk about data sciences and AI? Patrick Pouyanné.
You know, I think our century is facing two big challenges. On one side, one is a digital revolution, the other one is the energy transition. We all have one target, which is to go to solve the climate challenge for the planet. It's overarching challenges for all of us, and we have a strong conviction is that both are interlinked. If we want to invent this new energy world, it will be a digital world, and data science and machine learning and AI will contribute definitely, because we are trying to think a new energy world with zero carbon, and that supposes a lot of innovation. And again, there is a mix between digital and energy. And Total is transforming itself. We have the ambition to become a net zero company, going from fossil world to become a broad energy company. And so it's clearly why I'm here tonight, because we have a strong conviction that this digital world will help us to achieve our ambition.
Is it the same for you, Patrick Bérard?
I cannot disagree with.
Of course.
Thank you.
The one thing which is also quite complex, and this is why we need the two all together, is because there will be many solutions, many configurations. It will not be easy to really come to the most effective step in this direction quite fast and accessible to everyone. Energy solution is made of plenty of futuristic, not yet known solutions. And therefore, the more we can bring the data, the needs, the effectiveness, and come to the best solution, evolving every single day, it's probably the journey of the coming years.
And to be more concrete, why is it so important for Total, for example?
Let's speak about the future energy networks. You know, the future energy networks will be more complex. You will have some renewables, intermittent sources. You will have some storage capacities. You will have some more decentralized way to produce energy, so local microgrids. If we want to really manage and optimize and create the value out of this type of new energy networks, then there is plenty of data. Aggregation of all the information coming from a windmill, a solar farm, coming from the home roof from some people, you know, and all that together will be the future capacity, the way to produce and to supply a reliable energy. So it's again, you know, this new energy world will be more complex, and this capacity to aggregate, to learn from this data, to create value will be the new way to produce and supply energy.
And for you, what can this center bring to you?
What it brings is as a distributor of electrical components, and in order to come to solutions, we have a huge number of transactions every day, that rely only on granularity of people spread all over the place, in a village, in a country, from the north to the south. And we rely on every single individual to make the right decision, the right suggestion, the right configuration, and they live from their past. And for me, what is key is so that all this data, we can match the future needs to the best of what these data are telling us, including external data and internal data. So far, we are relying on our own data, and now we can, through artificial intelligence, match this with external data, other experiences, and in order to facilitate the decision-making of every single employee of Rexel, whether it's a sales rep, it's somebody on the phone, whether it's the web suggestions, or whether it's even under procurement, so that we make sure that we can supply everybody who needs it with exactly the best solution.
But will you still need people, humans, in the future?
Every employee of Rexel today will have to rethink his job based on the fact that artificial intelligence can make a better decision. But everybody is also an actor of the future, because everybody feed back into the system his experience. And the machine learning is to take the right expression of the one to supply the others. You know, it's not just data. It's also this machine learning and this ongoing progress for every single employee in the future.
AI is not going to replace people, humans?
No, no, not at all. I know that's one of the challenges, that people are afraid for their job. They are afraid for their privacy. They are afraid for I would say, the reliability of AI and the trust. So we need to create trust. And I think it's one of the interests of this World Center we want to establish, is to combine not only to approach AI as mathematics, algorithms, I would say art science. I am an engineer, so yes. I know what is art science. But to combine it with another approach, which are social sciences, which HSE and all this ecosystem will bring, because it's really the capacity, and I'm a strong believer in innovation. I'm sure the humankind always innovate to create the future. So we have to rely on these technologies, but we have to create the trust. And that's I think, one of the real assets of this new center, combining these social sciences, economy, and art sciences in order to bring the solutions. It's, I think, really what this cluster of Saclay, which we want to create, which are really will become one of the world leader I want that to become one of the world leader in data science in AI, and it's why Total is very happy to join and support this initiative.
Yes, you want to show that AI and data science are not the enemy, they are assets.
No, they are our future.
Thank you very much, Patrick Pouyanné, Chairman and CEO of Total, and thank you very much also, Patrick Bérard, CEO of Rexel. AI and data science are also crucial for consulting technology, obviously. That's the reason why Capgemini decided to invest in those fields.
We believe that, considering the partners around the table in this initiative, it was a unique opportunity to bridge the best of those different worlds.
Our collaboration with IP Paris and HEC is former this new partnership. We engaged 4 years ago as corporate partner of those two schools, because bridging those two worlds is key. And we need more and more open, mixed ecosystem, having scientific, academic, business corporate to boost innovation, to secure scalability, and finally to deliver sustainable value for final clients and user.
AI will definitely have a huge impact on business, but also on society. So for a company like us, supporting our clients in extracting the business value from technology, it is crucial to invest in this domain, considering that it will be a central point in our business, but also in the business of our clients tomorrow.
Welcome to Paul Hermelin. Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman of the Board of Directors of Capgemini. Why do you need data?
If you remember, a computer is actually a data center.
Yes.
So from its origin, computing is about managing data centers. We, Capgemini, we deliver software to manage the data of our clients on cloud data center. So data is the blood of all our clients, is the blood of the economy, is the blood of the world. Capgemini is a rather large company, 270,000 people across the globe. There are 20,000 people that only breathe and think of data. It's a practice, 20,000 people that we call insights and data, because data is to get insights and understand better our clients and our clients' clients, the customer of our clients. It's the blood, and we need a heart, and we need to have a pulse of the blood.
You like metaphors. I like metaphors. It's simpler to understand.
It's a way to explain.
Which is at stake. Why is it so important to combine the skills of engineers and businessmen?
The first point is when you manage data, you try to, an AI will try to combine data to find correlation between data, and they will find unexpected correlation. They might identify data that cause some phenomenon that mankind had not identified. And then you need to understand, you move from technology to the real world, you need to understand what is behind this data, what is the business sense, what are the process, the scientific reasons. So that's why you need two cultures. And all our data scientists need to understand statistics, computing, mathematics, but they need to be able to translate data in the real world, which they do well. If they need not only business culture, at the end, we could have some sociologists, some people that understand the society. And hopefully HEC will educate people not only in business, but in the social trends.
Paul Hermelin, you know, people are asking themselves many questions about AI. It is scary for some people. AI has potentially a lot of power. How can you deal with this fear?
So there are a lot of concerns, and the key for technology will be to re-establish trust. Innovation without trust will not address all these conspiracy theories. We see that blossoming on social networks. So,
of course, and we saw the movie I, Robot with Will Smith and many robots who replace humans.
We saw The Matrix and the
yes,
idea that there is when I ask some people about conspiracy theory, they say, referring to Alice in Wonderland, it's I went through the rabbit hole, so I tried to understand the truth that is hidden. We need to restore trust and some transparency. So in the Capgemini context, we have established a charter. These are situations where we will use AI, a situation where we will refrain from using AI. There will be some rules about how we collect data, how do we use data, and it's a charter to which all our employees have adhered and which we will share with our clients. You need ethics. I think the IP chair, Eric Labaye, insisted on that. AI, because it's about people, requires some rules, some common rules, but we should not confuse ethics and intimacy. Young people are ready to share a lot of data, and my generation would have been more reluctant to share the same data. Because young people think they can share some part of their intimacy, but they are not ready to reduce their freedom. They are not ready to abandon their rights. So there is the border between what can be shared and what will not be available to everybody. And that requires what I think is important, a charter, rules of ethics. And this High Paris Center will work not only on technology, not only on business, but also on ethics.
Thank you very much, Paul Hermelin, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Capgemini. Let's go further now and listen to professors of HEC Paris and IP Paris who are going to explain what can High Paris students can expect from this new center.
our schools have collaborated for a long time under the radar. This is an advantage we have over American and Asian schools. In America, it is commonplace for a business school to get together with an engineering school, and that doesn't necessarily work very well. This is not the case of HEC Paris and the IP Paris Center. Our schools have been collaborating for years already. In fact, we already have joint programs, for instance, between Polytechnique and HEC Paris. We're putting data miners, data scientists together with entrepreneurs to come up with new businesses. There are essentially two pillars. Some researchers focus on the data aspect of things, and other researchers, such as me, we focus more on the human behavior side of things, right? I mean, artificial intelligence is great, but it remains stupid, robotic, data-driven data that a human at some point needs to analyze and interpret. We were the first ones in social psychology to bring artificial intelligence to show, for instance, that our faces look like our first names. It's kind of weird, but my name is Anne-Laure, and there's something about my face that betrays me as an Anne-Laure, as well as, in your case, your given name probably shows up in your face. And that's a very provocative prediction. The only way we could actually be convincing was to look at big data, massive data, and show using 100,000 pictures of people on the internet, on the social media, that still a computer who is unbiased, who is unaware of what a special face or a special name should look like, well, a computer was able to guess that my name is Anne-Laure above chance level.
So AI is able to prove that my name is Marie-Aline. Very impressive. Welcome to both of you. Adriana Tapus, good evening. Professor at Institut Paris, and Christine De Valk, good evening. Professor and Associate Dean at HEC Paris. As directors of the doctoral program at HEC Paris and Institut Polytechnique de Paris, what do you expect from this brand new center?
Yeah, so first of all, we have to say that the PhD degree opens the door of many highly skilled jobs, both in the private and the public sectors. And so our doctoral program are designed to develop outstanding researchers and analysts. And they have like a very deep understanding of the scientific area. So that's really very important. So in this context, the center will help us to develop and increase our offer of PhD tracks. So in which a 2-year master degree like smoothly connects with a 3-year doctoral study. Mm-hmm. And in the same time, the center will offer funding to our students. And this is really very important, because if we want to be competitive and in international level, this is really very important. It's crucial because we have a lot of excellent students that opt to do their PhD studies abroad. And more than that, so I think that what we want in the center, in usual, we want to have innovative research in AI and data science, and also, because we are in HEC, so transfer technology from academia to business. And I really think that the center is the best place for that, and it provides the perfect ecosystem where the students can run research in cutting-edge areas. So we saw it earlier with all the industrial partners, and with a wide community of well-renowned researchers. So this is really very important.
It's important to compete with Americans, Asians.
Absolutely, and this research center is going to give an absolute big boost to our joint doctoral school. To give you an idea, the aim is to recruit 150 additional PhD students. To give you an order of magnitude, today we have around 300 doctoral students that work in the areas of data science and AI. So the center really, really will help us to up our game and to reach critical mass, which is important. But as Adriana says, it's a very competitive field. So recruiting the best senior but also junior researchers like the PhD students, we need to be attractive. And the fact that we're backed up by our corporate donors, that makes a big difference, because through them our students will have access to data, and with them they can work on research questions that are meaningful for business and society. So I absolutely think that High Paris will be the place for PhD students to start their research career.
It is a good reason to join the center. Thank you very much, Christine De Valk, and thank you very much, Adriana Tapus. Let's go further. Let's explore how far artificial intelligence can lead us. And we need other brains, scientists who are going to enlighten us. Let's welcome 3 of them, which are going to join us. Let's welcome them. Eric Moulin, Scientific Co-Director at IP Paris and Professor at IP Paris. Thierry Foucault, Scientific Co-Director at IP Paris and Professor at HEC Paris. And Gaël Richard, Operating Director, Professor at Télécom Paris. Let's start with you. Welcome, Eric Moulin. How can data and AI can help you in your research?
So the research and AI have made a huge progress in the last 10 years. The progress has been very, very fast, and they have been fueled with development of high-performance computing and also the massive investment which has been done in China and the US. And but there are still a lot of things which are open. There are a lot of problems which remain open, and of course, in 2 minutes, it's difficult to summarize all the programs that we have in mind in our center. But I will cite at least 4 examples of where we are planning to do research. The first is what I call data frugality. So it's like, of course, artificial intelligence is very powerful in order to recognize objects like cats and dogs, but it requires a huge amount of data to do this, to understand such kind of abstraction, whereas a human is able to recognize a cat of a dog with after 4 or 5 seeing 4 dogs, and you take your children and we do the task with after having seen 4 or 5 dogs, and it will be okay.
Really?
Yeah. So that data frugality, I think, is very important. There are many cases where it's important. The second case is what I call reinforcement learning. So it's a huge field. But reinforcement learning, AI is also the point of taking decisions. So what we can decide. So it's not only recognizing stuff, but it's also acting on our environment. And reinforcement learning has achieved a lot of progress recently, like AlphaGo to play games like that. But in complex situations, it's still very, very far from what is expected from a human. So the third topic is about explainability. So explainability is very important, because I think that when you want to develop AI at a large scale, for example, in medicine, you need to understand the decision, what it takes. And right now, when you see how AI is taking decision, it's a very complex software and statistical rules which are behind the scene, and it's very difficult to understand. So explainability is a key issue. And the last topic we are willing to address is hybrid AI. So which means so AI is not like standing alone. So AI is made to collaborate with human beings. So we need to understand how to make human beings and AI collaborate. It's not AI is not against humans, and the human is not against AI. We had this discussion before.
Yes, but, they are not enemies.
We're not enemies. So we need to learn how to work together. And of course, in the research program, there are also a lot of things about applications. There are fantastic applications of AI in many fields.
We're talking about AI, but also data. And Thierry Foucault, why is data so important for research, teaching, innovation?
Yeah, so let me start maybe with a fact, which is by some estimates, by year 2025, there will be 19 million, filing cabinets worth of text produced every day. So this is a huge amount of data, which is largely produced by the digital footprints that we leave everywhere when we do online transactions, when we search on the internet, when we share information on social medias. And this is a huge opportunity for firms. That is, firms that are able to extract information from those data, to mine them in an efficient way, and to transform this information into innovation, into better forecasting, they have a competitive advantage. So one thing we want to do at iParis is to bring together people who have the techniques of data mining, how you extract information from the data, with social scientists who have the knowledge from various areas, management science, decision science, economics, psychology, to transform the data into ideas, into business ideas. So we have people working on digital transformation, digital marketing, fintech, the application of AI to finance, and so on and so forth. But that's not the only thing. As many people mentioned, there are concerns, challenges for society associated with AI. There are questions about the type of skills that people will need in a world which is based on the data. And so we need more research, we need more knowledge to alleviate those fears, to understand also the risk associated with AI. So we have also people who are working on data privacy, for instance, algorithmic fairness. How do you make sure that an algorithm is not going to discriminate people based on gender, for instance? We have also plans, we have people who work on so-called legal analytics. That means how to use AI for everything which involves legal cases.
Yes.
So that's one area. So this is the type of research we want to do. And for this, you need to bring together researchers with very different background and expertise. So that's the reason why we have this alliance between HEC and École Polytechnique and IP Paris within IP Paris.
Of course, Gaël Richard, after listening to Eric Moline and Thierry Foucault, what is the link with corporate donors?
Well, there are many links with corporate donors. Let me highlight one of the important aspects. And the important aspect is linked to access to real data and access to real use cases. And in fact, it is very important for researchers to have access to real data and real use cases for the research. And this is one of the main important roles that can be carried out by our corporate donors, is to share data, share use cases. And for the researchers, as we have just discussed, but also for students. And there are a number also of specific events in our education program which can be based on this shared data and shared use case, which are the data camps and the hackathons, which are very popular with students in this program. And maybe going a little bit further and more generally, what we plan to set up is a real innovative ecosystems, a so-called data factory, where data and software libraries, open source software libraries, are put together, and this is also helped by a team of research engineers. We help researchers to bring the research code to the highest possible standards.
So this is the link. Thank you, Gaël Richard.
Yeah, this is definitely the link.
Thank you, Eric Moline and Thierry Foucault. We all understand that tomorrow's world will be dominated by new technology, data, AI. For better or for worse, we ask the famous economist Philippe Aghion, and his answers can surprise you.
All technological revolutions are about automation. I mean, starting with the steam engine, then the electricity, then the IT, and its ultimate form, AI. So in that sense, it's new and not new. Each time, there's been the hope that it would produce more growth. Why? Because you replace labor, which is in finite supply, by capital goods, which you produce yourself. So of course, that makes growth more, the growth inputs much bigger. And the particular thing with AI is that with AI you automate not only the production of goods and services, but you also automate the production of ideas. And that, of course, gives enormous growth possibilities. Of course, the big issue is that why don't we see growth yet? Why have we seen a decline in productivity growth in the US, even for the past 10 years? And the answer, in short, is the lack of competition, is the fact that some firms have become superstar firms, some firms took advantage of IT to become hegemonic, and they block the innovations of other firms. So you need to renew competition policy to make IT revolution fully growth enhancing. So that's one thing. The other prediction from IT and AI is that IT and AI would increase unemployment because it would replace humans by machines. But that was the same fear as with the steam engine. When you had the steam engine revolution, you had the Luder movement, the Ludism, Luder. But we didn't see mass unemployment. The firms in France that automate, in fact, they expand, they reduce labor costs, and that allows them to expand their market. Because they expand their market, they in fact increase their employment. And it's the firms that don't automate that have their employment shrink or close down.
Two young entrepreneurs have joined us now. Welcome to Théophile Mordurdez. Good evening, CEO of Volta Medical. And good evening, David Thibault, co-founder and CEO of Vision. Your companies are the best example. They show how we can apply all we have learned so far. First, tell us your story. How did you found your company?
Thank you. I founded my company I met with three cardiologists, experts in cardiac arrhythmias, and founded Volta Medical in 2016 in Marseille. And we are developing AI tools to guide cardiologists in the operating room. So to be more precise, we are providing artificial intelligence tools to cardiac electrophysiologists while they are performing an interventional procedure which is called cardiac ablation.
Thibault, David.
Yeah. So first of all, I just wanted to remind that we were on the same promotion, so it's fun that it's nice to see you there, Théophile.
Of course, because we graduated the same year.
So, but Théophile from X and me, I'm from a business background, so I come from HEC. And Vision was created during this double degree between HEC and Polytechnique. And with Benoît and Damien, who were also on the degree. After 1 year of studying the basics of deep learning and data science, we wanted to focus on some concrete application that was enabled by this technology. And so we started screening in the area what was possible now and what was not really made so far by the current actors.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult, and we're still facing a lot of. It's a huge challenge. I mean, AI is a great idea, and concretely, it's a lot of challenge to overcome on a daily basis because it's very. There are not many competitors. But it means that you have to find the solutions by yourself because nobody did it before.
Yes.
So just to speak about Vision, we screened the area of gesture recognition, and we focused on one concrete application, which is the problematic of shoplifting in stores. And so we are building a technology to detect automatically shoplifting behaviors, to inform the personnel of a potential theft.
So thanks to you, it will be impossible to steal in the future?
I think it still will be possible, but thieves should find new ways of stealing that are not still caught by the algorithm. It will be like a race between the algorithm and the human. Yeah.
And do you think in your field that bridges built between business and AI are useful for you?
This is, for me, there is an obvious yes. I think Volta is all about gathering people with different expertise, gathering medical experts and data scientists, bringing data scientists in the operating room to have an understanding of what's happening. It's only when you bring all these people together in one room that great ideas come up. And I think that yes, basically the story of our company really and the DNA is really at the very interface between data scientists and medical experts discussing together and trying to solve issues that medical experts are facing in the operating room while they are intervening on patients.
And last word, what could you say to future students? Tricky question.
That's a tricky one. Well, I would say that the universe of possibilities is huge. So it's important to be creative and to think about to be very free of mind about anything that can be done thanks to those technologies. Yes.
And you are very courageous, very brave. Thank you, Thibaut David, and thank you, Théophile Mort-Durdez. In this adventure, HiParis can rely on major partners, INRIA and CNRS.
L'intelligence artificielle impacte potentiellement toutes les activités humaines. Les données sont partout. Tout le monde le dit, tout le monde le sait. Mais ce qu'on sait moins, c'est qu'au fond, on en est au tout début de cette nouvelle révolution et qu'un énorme besoin de recherche et de formation est encore nécessaire. Recherche, bien sûr, en mathématiques, en informatique, mais en fait, plus généralement, dans toutes les sciences, en n'oubliant surtout pas les sciences humaines et sociales, si importantes pour les questions d'explicabilité et d'acceptation, en fait, de ces nouvelles technologies par le grand public et par la société en général. Et donc, je me félicite de la création par l'Institut Polytechnique de Paris et HEC de ce nouveau centre, Intelligence artificielle et sciences des données pour la société, et je souhaite que le CNRS en soit, dans les années à venir, un partenaire majeur. Bonne chance.
I am Bruno Sportis, the CEO and chairman of INRIA, the French Institute for Computer Science and Applied Mathematics. It's a pleasure for having this opportunity of expressing our full commitment for the success of HiParis. I am convinced that this will provide us a powerful and efficient tool for increasing the attractiveness of Saclay in the field of AI, that this will help us for dealing with the key issues raised by AI, and that this will improve the impact of AI onto society, onto economy. This is as a good illustration of the dynamics of France in the field of AI, 2 years after the launch of the AI French strategy by President Macron. INRIA is in charge of the management of this AI strategy, and we will be fully committed via our Saclay Research Center for the development of HiParis. Thanks.
INRIA and CNRS, new public partners for HiParis. Peter Todd and Eric Labaye are back. Last but not least, Cédric O, good evening. Minister of State for the Digital Transition and Electronic Communication. Thank you very much for being here tonight. We already understood that the French government supports this center, but do you believe that an academic initiative like HiParis might contribute to French soft power, and if so, to what extent?
Well, I think that the announcement that is made today is really important. Because as we all know, there is a question of investment, there is a question of facilities, but the first battle for the worldwide competition for AI, for artificial intelligence, is a battle for human intelligence. So this is really, really important for us. And I think this is the top issue that we have in France, is to strengthen our academic world, also our entrepreneurship. But everything begins with academic in the AI field. So this is really important that 2 of our major institutions commit themselves together, which is also something that is really important, especially in the French mood ecosystem, to build something that wants to be at the table of the best in class in terms of AI. And I think that it shows the commitment of the whole academic world in France to build an ecosystem that is at the top level, worldwide speaking.
And what do you expect from this center?
Well, I think that there are 2 different cultures that are mixed today. One that comes from business and one that is much more relying on research and engineering. And I think that in that meeting, we can build something really interesting. We know that there's a lot of knowledge in terms of deep tech, in terms of hard science in Institut Polytechnique. And we know that as far as management is concerned, as far as finance is concerned, as far as business is concerned, and the culture of HEC is really strong. So we hope that with this cross-fertilization, we will build something big. But they will build something big, but we can count on them.
And they hope so, they hope so. To be more concrete, to which areas of AI and data analytics in particular, do you expect the High Paris Center to contribute?
Well, I mentioned finance, for instance, but I think that as far as B2C area is concerned, we are a little bit lagging behind compared to the Americans or the Chinese. But we have strengths in Europe, or especially in France, in some verticals where we have legacy companies or legacy research that is really strong. This is especially the case of health, environment, transportation, energy. And also we have something that is really important in France, that we pay attention and we lay a great emphasis on reliable AI and on critical systems. We have companies such as Thales, which are really strong in terms of critical system. And this is not the same AI if you have to know what is the next good that you will be purchasing. And an AI that should be able to manage by itself a whole plane. And we know in the second category that we have a role to play. And I think that in those areas where France is historically strong, there we can play the game.
And does the state have any plans to support such a center?
Well, I think that the role of the state is to build the environment and the platform. And the president himself has been committed into announcing 2 years ago a national strategy for AI. We decided to invest 1.5 billion euros in terms of public money within the ecosystem. For instance, by doubling the numbers of PhD, doubling the number of masters in AI, investing in high-performance computing, for instance, that we know is supporting part of the research, and trying to foster the whole ecosystem. We are able to have some success if we consider the number of research centers specialized in AI that has been settling from the biggest tech company all over the world in France. I'm thinking of Google, Facebook, Uber, even UiPath, Criteo, and so on and so on. And so, but we are accelerating. We are building the framework, but the others are accelerating too. So
of course
we need to be even better.
And we're watching them.
Yeah.
And Peter Todd and Eric Labaille are listening to you very carefully. Do you expect something from them?
We expect them to be good.
Yes, there is a lot of pressure, a lot of ambition tonight.
There are huge responsibility on their shoulders, I think. We have two of the best French institutions, so they have to be at the right level of challenge.
And you can let Peter Todd and Eric Labaille conclude. A last word,
yes.
A last message.
Oh, yeah. I think the last message is, I think, just rebounding on the ambition and the aspiration. I think all of us are sharing a high aspiration in a very critical domain. And I think we have seen also this evening the strong support we have. Obviously, strong involvement inside IP Paris and HEC Paris. A lot of our colleagues have been working and are absolutely committed to do the best in these fields. And we have seen also support from companies, support from the government, from the national research centers and so on. So now it's time to start and to accelerate. So the last word would be now let's deliver somehow on the ambition, on the aspiration we have, and let's work together and provide some solutions to the world's biggest problems.
Peter Todd?
Yeah, I think tonight we've set ambition, and then you bring stakeholders to that ambition, and that's what I think we've demonstrated here tonight too, as you bring internal stakeholders, whether it's students or entrepreneurs who've graduated from the school, whether it's alumni of the school who come from different corporations and come to support what we're doing. It's the government that develops the framework, that situates us and inspires us and pushes us to move forward, and accompanies us, frankly, when we go out into the world as well, both to compete and to draw talent back into France. And all those ingredients are there, and it's to us now to set our sights high and to meet that ambition here in Paris.
Our discussion was really interesting tonight. Thank you to all of you, our guests tonight, specialists, professors, scientists, CEOs, chairman. Thank you very much, Cédric O, for being here. Thank you, Eric Labaille. Thank you, Peter Todd. And good night and long life, High Paris.